Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 1, Sutta Uvacha. Jagrihe Purusham Rupam Bhagwan Mahat Tadibhi Sambhutam Shodash Kalmadao Lokasrits Lokasisrakshaya. Oh, am I?
It's okay. It's Jolly Master. We're waiting for her to recite the English now.
Oh, yeah, is here. Okay. Hare Krishna. I can hardly see. Okay. Is it possible to enlarge the font a bit, Prabhu?
Oh, I don't know. Let me try.
Okay, don't worry.
That's probably the best I can do for now.
All right. Oh, yeah, that's good. Sutta said, in the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universe form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first, there was the creation of the 16 principles of material action. This was for the purpose of creating the material universes.
Text 2. Yasyam bhasi sanyasya yoga nitram vitanvatah nabhihidam bhujat asit dva brahma vishvasrujam pati.
A part of the Purusha lies down within the water of the universe. From the navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus stem, and from the lotus flower the lotus flower atop this stem, Brahma, the master of all engineers in the universe, becomes manifest.
Text 3. Yasya vayava sansthanai kalpito loka vistarah tadvai bhagavato rupam vishuddham sattvamurjitam.
It is believed that all the universal planetary systems are situated on the extensive body of the Purusha, but he has nothing to do with the created material ingredients. His body is eternally in spiritual existence par excellence.
Text 4. Pashyanti yado rupam abhadra chakshusa sahasra padaro bhujanand bhutam sahasramurdha shravanski nashikam sahasramolyambar kundalo lalasat.
The devotees with their perfect eyes see the transcendental form of the Purusha, who has thousands of legs, thighs, arms, and faces, all extraordinary. In that body, there are thousands of heads, ears, eyes, and noses. They are decorated with thousands of helmets and glowing earrings and are adorned with garlands.
Text 5. Etananavataranam nidhanam bijam vayayam yasyam shanshen sujanyante devartiryannaladaya.
This form, the second manifestation of the Purusha, is the source and indestructible seed of multifarious incarnations within the universe. From the particles and portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, men, and others are created.
Text 6. Saiva prathamam deva Komaram sargamarshita Chachar duscharam brahma Brahmacharya makhanditam.
First of all, in the beginning of creation, there were the 4 unmarried sons of Brahman, the Kumaris, who, being situated in a vow of celibacy, underwent severe austerities for realization of the absolute truth.
Text 7. Dvityam tu bhava yasya Rasat lagatam mahim Uddharishyan upadatta Yagyesha sokaram vapu.
The supreme enjoyers of all sacrifices accepted the incarnation of the second incarnation, and for the welfare of the earth, he lifted the earth from the nether regions of the universe.
Text 8. Trityam rishi sargam vai Devarshi tvam upetya saha Tantram sattvatamachasta Naisha karmayam karmanam yataha.
In the millennium of the rishis, the personality of God had accepted the third empowered incarnation in the form of Devarsi Narada, who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected expositions of the Vedas which deal with devotional service and which inspire non-fruitive action.
Text 9. Turye dharma kala sarge Nar narayana vrishi Bhutvatmo pashmo petam karot Dushcharam tapaha.
In the 4th incarnation, the Lord became Nara and Narayana, the twin sons of the wife of King Dharma. Thus life undertook severe and exemplary presence to control the senses.
Text 10.
Oh, sorry, his exemplary penances.
Text 10. Panchama Kapilo Nama Siddhesha Kal Viplutam Provacha Surye Sankhyam Tattvagrama Viniryam.
The 5th incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is foremost amongst the perfected beings. He gave an exposition of the creative elements and metaphysics to Ashuri Brahmana, for in course of time this knowledge had been lost.
Text 11. Shashtham matre patyatvam vritah Prapto anasuyaya Anvikshim Kimak Larkayah Pralad Dadibhya Uchivan.
The 6th incarnation of the Purusha was the son of the sage Atri. He was born from the womb of Anashura, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alarka, Prahalad, and others, Yadu and Anhaya, etc.
Text 12. Tatha saptam akutyam ruchir yagyo abhyajayat sayamadhyai suraganer ap swayambhuvantaram.
The seventh incarnation was Yajna, the son of Prajapati Rishi and his wife Akuti. He controlled the perfect period during this change of the Swayambhuva Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama.
Text 13. Ashtame merudevyam tu nabher jata urukramah darshayan vartam dhiranam sarvashram namaskritam.
The eighth incarnation was the king Rishabha, son of King Nabhi, and his wife Merudevi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all orders of love.
Text 14. Rishir chito bheje navam parthivam vapuh dugdhe mamoshir dhir vipras tenyam saustamah.
O Brahmana, in the sixth incarnation, the
Ninth.
Lord prayed for by
Ninth.
sages, accepted the body of King Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produce, and for the reason the earth was beautiful and attractive. For this reason, sorry.
Text 15. Rupam sa jagrihe matsyam chakshu shodahi samplave navyaropya mahimayam apadvai swatam manam.
When there was a complete inundation after the period of the Chakshusha Manu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaishvavata Manu, keeping him up on a boat.
Text 16. Sura surana mudidhim matnatam mandrachalam dadre kamatrupe prishtham ekadashe vibhuh.
The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of a tortoise, whose shell served as the pivot for the Mandarakula hill, which was being used as the churning rod by the theists and the atheists of the universe.
Text 17. Dhanvantaram dvadasham trayodashmamev cha apaya yat suran anyan mohinya mohayan striya.
Jolly Mataji, you there?
I'm sorry, it went on mute. I don't know how. Anyway, in the 12th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Dhanvatari, and in the 13th, he allured the atheists by charming beauty of a woman and gave nectar to the demigods to drink.
Text 18. Chaturdasham narasingham bibhrad daityandram murjitam Dadar Karjairura Verakam Katikrit Yatha.
In the 14th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Narasimha and bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as a carpenter pays his cane.
Text 19. Panchadasham Vamnakam Kritva Gadvaram Baleh Pat Trayam Yachmanaha Pratyaditsu Stri Pishtapam.
In the 15th incarnation, the Lord assumed the form of a dwarf Vamana, and visited the arena of the sacrifice arranged by Maharaj Bali. Although at heart, he was willing to regain the kingdom of the 3 planetary systems, he simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land.
Text 20. Avatare Shodashamesh Pashyan Brahma Druho Nipan Trihi Saptakritvaha Kupitoni Shatram Karon Mahim.
In the 16th incarnation of the Godhead, the Lord as Bhragupati annihilated the administrative class Kshatriyas 21 times, being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas, the intelligent class.
Text 21. Tatha Saptadashe Jatah Satya Vatyam Parasharat Chakre Vedataro Shakha Drishva Pumso Medasah.
Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of the Godhead, Sri Vasudeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Parashara Muni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, saying that the people in general were less intelligent.
Text 22. Naradevatvam Apana Surakarya Chikirshaya Samudra Nigraha Deni Chakre Viryanyata Param.
In the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Rama in order to perform some pleasing work for the demigods. He exhibited superhuman powers by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the atheist king Ravana, who was on the other side of the sea.
Text 23.
I think we stop at 22.
Oh.
Anyway, thank you so much, Subhana. This was very nicely recited. And
Forgive me for my blunders.
No, it was good.
Beautiful recitation, Mataji.
Thank you. That's really kind of you. Thank you.
Krishna. Thank you, Jolly Mataji. I always like hearing your voice. So
Haribo.
Hare Krishna. So today we'll be doing text number 8. There, we'll continue with text number 8. You should see it on the board. We'll start off by reciting the Mangala Charanam prayers. Please feel free to join in. Be unmuted mics. Om Gyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Yakshurunmalitam Jena. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Vidati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gourange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachari Shatarine Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So just to put this verse in context, this verse is being spoken by Sri Sutta Goswami to the 88,000 sages at Naimisharanya. The sages had posed 6 questions to Sutta Goswami. The previous chapter, Sutta Goswami had answered the first 2 questions. And at the beginning of this chapter, Sutta Goswami in verses 1 to 5 had answered the fourth question. So he'd answered the first 3 questions, and now he's answering the 4th question. And that question was, please describe to us the Purusha avatars. The Purusha avatars are the expansions of the Lord that deal specifically with creation. And then from text number 6 all the way to text number 27, Sutta Goswami is answering the 5th question. And the 5th question was, please describe to us the transcendental pastimes of the Leela avatars of the Lord. So we are in that section currently. And in text number 6, the Kumaras were discussed. In text number 7, Lord Varaha, the boar incarnation, was discussed or mentioned. And in this text number 8, we shall now read who is being discussed. Tritiyam Rishi Sargam Vai Deva Rishit Vam Upetya Saha Tantram Sattvatam Achasta Naiskarmayam Karmanam Yataha. Word for word synonyms. Tritiyam, the 3rd one. Rishi Sargam, the millennium of the rishis. Vai, certainly. Deva Rishitvam, Tvam, incarnation of the rishi among the demigods. Upetya, having accepted sa, he. Tantram, exposition of the Vedas. Sattvatam, which is especially meant for devotional service. Jasta, collected. Naiskarmyam, non-fruitive. Karmanam, of work. Yataha, from which. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the millennium of the Rishis, the personality of Godhead accepted third empowered incarnation in the form of Deva Rishi Narada, who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected expositions of the Vedas which deal with devotional service and which inspire non-fruitive action. Purport. The great Rishi propagates devotional service all over the universe. The universe and in different planets and species of life are his disciples. Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of the Srimad Bhagavatam, is also one of his disciples. Narada is the author of the Narada Pancharatra.
Vrindavan Chandra.
Sorry, was someone saying something? I'm sorry, I just muted you. Anyway, Narada is the author of the Narada Pancharatra, which is the exposition of the Vedas, particularly for the devotional service of the Lord. This Narada Pancharatra trains the karmis or the fruitive workers to achieve liberation from the bondage of fruitive work. The conditioned souls are mostly attracted by fruitive work because they want to enjoy life by the sweat of their own brows. The whole universe is full of fruitive workers in all species of life. The fruitive works include all kinds of economic development plans. But the law of nature provides that every action has its resultant reaction, and the performer of the work is bound up by such reactions, good or bad. The reaction of good work is comparative material prosperity, whereas the reaction of bad work is comparative material distress. But material conditions, either in so-called happiness or in so-called distress, are all meant ultimately for distress only. Foolish materialists have no information of how to obtain eternal happiness in the unconditional state. Sri Narada informs these foolish fruitive workers how to realize the reality of happiness. He gives direction to the diseased men of the world, how one's present engagement can lead one to the path of spiritual emancipation. The physician directs the patient to take treated milk in the form of curd for his sufferings from indigestion due to his taking another milk preparation. So the cause of the disease and the remedy of the disease may be the same, but it must be treated by an expert physician like Narada. The Bhagavad Gita also gives the same solution of serving the Lord by the fruits of one's labor. That will lead one to the path of Naishkarmya, for liberation. The verse again. In the millennium of the Rishis, the personality of Godhead accepted the third empowered incarnation in the form of Deva Rishi Narada, who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected the expositions of the Vedas which deal with devotional service and which inspire non-fruitive actions. So the first interesting aspect of this verse is we see that Sutta Goswami has been requested by the sages to describe the Leela avatars, the pastimes of the Lord. But we see in the example of, in verse number 6, the Kumaras, and even in this example, text number 8, Narad Muni is being described in the category of Leela avatars. So why is this? So let's firstly discuss this point, and then we can speak a bit more about Sri Narad Muni. Firstly, most of us know Narad Muni. He's one of the most glorified, accepted, and loved devotees of the Lord because of his extensive preaching work. We understand that Narad Muni is the son of Lord Brahma. He appeared from the heart of Lord Brahma. And he's been present since the time of creation. And many great sages and saintly devotees are all disciples and devotees of Narad Muni. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, we see Prahlad Maharaj is a disciple of Narad Muni. Dhruva Maharaj is a disciple of Narad Muni. Vyasadeva himself is a disciple of Narad Muni. And in the Ramayana, we see Valmiki is a disciple of Narad Muni. So Narad Muni was or is very expert in getting disciples. He has so many disciples. And Srila Prabhupada says he has unlimited disciples. Now, Sri Narad Muni, he falls within a particular category called Shakti Vesh Avatar. In the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela 1, chapter 165 and 66, is mentioned there that there are three incarnations of Godhead: partial incarnations, qualitative incarnations, and empowered incarnations. The Purushas and Matsyas are examples of partial incarnations. So Sri Narad Muni falls within the category of Shakti Avesh Avatar, or as mentioned, Shakti Avesh. So Shakti means the potency. Avesh means one who is imbibed. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being all potent, he sometimes wishes to infuse within his devotees a very particular type of potency to achieve a particular end. And mostly those potencies are bestowed for the purposes of expanding the Lord's mission. So Sri Narad Muni is a Shaktiya Avesh Avatar, an empowered incarnation. In the purport of the 4th canto, chapter number 15, text number 6, Srila Prabhupada writes, in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that whenever one sees an extraordinary power, he should conclude that a specific partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present. There are innumerable such personalities, but not all of them are direct Vishnu Tattva plenary expansions of the Lord. Many living entities are classified among the Shakti Tattvas. Such incarnations empowered for specific purposes are known as Shaktiya Vesh Avatars. King Prithu was such a Shaktiya Vesh Avatar of the Lord. Similarly, Archie, King Prithu's wife, was a Shaktiya Vesh Avatar of the goddess of fortune. So we see this particular category, the Shaktiya Vesh Avatar. And Prabhupada specifically mentions that we see extraordinary power, almost to the extent of a specific partial representation of the Lord. And Sri Narad Muni falls in that category. We also understand that Srila Prabhupada, through taking Krishna consciousness throughout the Western world and translating and publishing transcendental literature in an unfathomable way, he displayed extraordinary spiritual potency in preaching the mission of Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada is also accepted as a Shaktiya Vesh Avatar. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela chapter 20, Lord Chaitanya specifically explains the principle of Shaktiya Vesh Avatars to Sanatana Goswami. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "Oh Sanatan, you must give up your intelligent tricks. Now just try to understand the description of the Shaktiya Vesh Avatars. There are unlimited Shaktiya Vesh Avatars of Lord Krishna. Let me describe the chief among them. Empowered incarnations are two types, primary and secondary. The primary ones are directly empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are called incarnations. The secondary ones are indirectly empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are called Vibhuti. Some Shaktiya Vesh Avatars are the four Kumaras, Narada, Maharaj Prithu, and Parashuram. When a living being is empowered to act as Lord Brahma, he is also considered a Shaktiya Vesh Avatar. Lord Shesha in the spiritual world of Vaikuntha and in the material worlds, Lord Ananta, who carries innumerable planets on his hoods, as two primary empowered incarnations. There is no need to count the others, for they are unlimited. So the Lord has unlimited purposes, and to fulfill his unlimited purposes, he can either expand himself or he can empower those who he prefers to empower. So if we analyze the activities and the potencies of Sri Narad Muni, without doubt, Sri Narad Muni can be accepted as a primary Shaktiavesh avatar. Before today's class, I played Srila Prabhupada singing a beautiful bhajan called Narad Muni Bhajaya Vina. Bhajaya Vina. And in it, Prabhupada gave a very beautiful purport to the song. I didn't get a time to play the purport. I'll read it to you quickly. And this song was written by one of our great acharyas, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Srila Prabhupada says, the purport of the song is that the great soul Narad Muni is playing on a stringed instrument called the veena and vibrating Radhika Raman, one of Krishna's names. So as soon as he plucks the strings and chants, all the devotees immediately respond to him, and it becomes a very beautiful vibration. Amiya Dhara Barise Gana. As the singing goes on with the stringed instrument, it appears that there is a shower of nectar, and all the devotees then dance in ecstasy to the fullest extent of their satisfaction. Then, as they dance, it appears that they've become intoxicated by drinking the beverage called Madhuri Pura. And as one becomes almost mad by drinking, similarly, all the devotees become mad in ecstasy. And some of them are crying, and some of them are dancing. And some of them, although they cannot dance publicly, are dancing within their hearts. Then Lord Shiva embraces Narad Muni and begins to dance and cry out in ecstasy. And when Lord Brahma sees Lord Shiva dancing with Narad Muni, he joins in and says, all of you kindly chant Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Then gradually the king of heaven, Indra, also joins in with great satisfaction and begins to dance and to chant Hari, Hari Bol. In this way, the influence of the transcendental vibration of the holy name of God, the whole cosmic universe becomes ecstatic. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, when the whole universe becomes ecstatic in this way, my desires are satisfied. And I therefore pray unto the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami, and the chanting of Harinam may go on nicely like this. So this beautiful song, it gives us a wonderful insight that Sri Narad Muni is not only enlivening and saving the fallen souls all over the universe, but he's bringing great ecstasy to the devotees of the Lord by his transcendental singing and playing of his veena. And all of the devotees become mad in ecstasy, including Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Lord Indra. This is the special potency of Sri Narad Muni. Now, there is a very interesting pastime of how Sri Narad Muni got cursed to not ever be able to live in any fixed abode and to continually be traveling all over the universe. And in canto number 6, I think it's, I forgot to write the chapter, I think it was chapter number 9, there is a description. And that description took place between Prajapati Daksha and Narad Muni. essentially what happened was Prajapati Daksha, he's the progenitor. His specific service is to populate the world. And he populates the world through having children and asking them to progenate, to have further children. But Sri Narad Muni, he has been preaching, and so many of Prajapati Daksha's children were preached to by Narad Muni, and they became renunciates. And when they become renunciates, the whole objective of propagation becomes halted. So Prajapati Daksha said, my sons were not at all freed from the three debts. Indeed, they did not properly consider the obligations. O Narad Muni, O personality of sinful action, you have obstructed their progress toward good fortune in this world and the next, because they are still indebted to the saintly persons, the demigods and their fathers. So Prajapati Daksha is saying, these sons, when they were born, they had three debts: the debts to the saintly persons, the debts to the demigods, and the debts to the Father. By you making them renunciants, you have prevented them from becoming freed from their debts, and you have implicated them in further sin. And thus, you have become very sinful. Prajapati Daksha continued, thus committing violence against other living entities, claiming to be an associate of Lord Vishnu, you are defaming the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You needlessly created a mentality of renunciation in innocent boys, and therefore you are shameless and devoid of compassion. How could you travel with the personal associates of the Supreme Lord? If there was ever a contradictory statement, that probably has to be it. All the devotees of the Lord, but you, are very kind to the conditioned souls and are eager to benefit others. Although you wear the dress of a devotee, you create enmity with people who are not your enemies. Or you break friendship, create enmity between friends. Are you not ashamed of posing as a devotee while performing these abominable actions? Prajapati Daksha continued, if you think that simply awakening the sense of renunciation will detach one from the material world, I must say that unless full knowledge is awakened, simply changing dresses as you have done cannot possibly bring detachment. That is completely incorrect, because Narad Muni didn't change their dress, he changed their hearts and made them detached. Material enjoyment is indeed the cause of all unhappiness, but one cannot give it up unless one has personally experienced how much suffering it is. Therefore, one should be allowed to remain in so-called material enjoyment, while simultaneously advancing in knowledge to experience the misery of this false material happiness. Then, without help from others, one will find material enjoyment detestful. Those whose minds are changed by others do not become as renounced as those of personal experience. You have made me lose my sons once, and now you have again done the same inauspicious thing. Therefore, you are a rascal who does not know how to behave towards others. You may travel all over the universe, but I curse you to have no residence anywhere. So such hurtful, unbefitting words Prajapati Daksha has spoken against Narad Muni. And how does Narad Muni respond to this? Sri Shukadev Goswami continued. This is how Narad responded. My dear king, Shukadev Goswami is saying Maharaj Parikshit, my dear king, since Narad Muni is an approved saintly person, when cursed by Prajapati Daksha, he replied, Tad Bhadham. Yes, what you have said is good. I accept this curse. He could have cursed Prajapati Daksha in return, but because he is tolerant and merciful sadhu, he took no action. And this very much exemplifies a beautiful verse from the first canto, 18th chapter, text 48, where he said there, The devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even though they are defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves. This is the meaning of devotee. Devotee sees everything as coming from Krishna, even being defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed. Therefore, a devotee never feels inclined to avenge any aspect of what happens to them. So in the verse, when I was reading Prajapati Daksha's criticism of Sri Narad Muni, I was thinking about this verse. In this verse, it is said in the final line, Naish karam yam karmanam. Prabhupada writes, the physician directs the patient to take treated milk in the form of curd for his sufferings from indigestion due to his taking another milk preparation. So the cause of the disease and the remedy of the disease may be the same, but it must be treated by an expert physician like Narada. And as Prabhupada writes in the purport, Sri Narad Muni has given us the Narada Pancharatra. And the Narada Pancharatra, it extracts all the essential devotional principles and makes it applicable to those who are attached to the fruits of the labors. We understand from the Bhagavad Gita what binds the living entity to the material world is their desire and their mentality to always enjoy the fruit of their works. But the solution is continue to experience the fruit of the works. Bhagavad Gita says you don't have to stop working and receiving your fruits, but all you have to learn is to dedicate those fruits to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in this way you become free. And this metaphor that Prabhupada is given is very applicable. Sometimes when one has some types of milk preparation, actually too much of this milk preparation, it causes a type of indigestion. But according to Ayurveda, the cure for such indigestion is to take some form of yogurt or curd, which is simply milk treated. So what we are using essentially is some form of milk to cure another form of disease caused by milk. And this is a very nice metaphor because Sri Narad Muni, contrary to what Prajapati Daksha said here, he is helping those who are not renunciants. They are attached to the fruits of their labor. And by reading and studying the Narada Pancharatra, such people can easily become freed from the attachment to the fruit of their works. Now, I just want to conclude by quickly explaining some nice pastimes. Often we think that Sri Narad Muni, he was engaged, he was involved in the pastimes of the Lord some many years ago. But no, Sri Narad Muni is very, very much engaged in the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu right now. And I'll read two wonderful pastimes that give us an insight into this. So the first pastime appeared in England, in London, in a hall called Conway Hall. So the devotees of Srila Prabhupada arranged a big program in a big hall called Conway Hall. And Srila Prabhupada was invited to speak. But there were not so many attendees. But still, Srila Prabhupada was not concerned. And he explained that one night an extraordinary thing happened. Prabhupada led the first kirtan and then he gave a lecture. And this is being spoken by Yamuna Devi, one of Srila Prabhupada's intimate disciples. So she says, I sat on the floor Just to the right with the ammonium. And just after the lecture, I began leading the second Hare Krishna Kirtan. So Prabhupada led the first one, Yamuna the second one. All of a sudden, Srila Prabhupada's voice cut through the auditorium, and the potency of Lord Nrsimha right in the middle of my chanting. I had never heard Prabhupada do that, nor had I heard the words he chanted. And he started chanting, Narada Muni Bhaja Evina Radhika Ramana Namne. He sang, and then he repeated it. I looked up, and he looked down at me, signaling me to carry on. So I continued chanting Hare Krishna, and he continued singing his prayer to Narad Muni into his microphone. I closed my eyes and carried on, not knowing what was happening. Then he started leading with me. We could all understand that something inexplicable but amazing was happening. Everyone was literally jumping off the ground, leaping in the air. Even little baby Saraswati was 2 feet off the ground, and the audience was leaping into the air. We jumped off the stage, and all of us began running around the perimeter of the auditorium with the audience. It was one of those Krishna magic moments. Just amazing. The next morning, I asked what had happened the previous night. Didn't you see? Srila Prabhupada said, Narad Muni came to our kirtan. No, I didn't see, I answered. Yes, Narad Muni came. This was in London, 1969. Then there was another pastime in Los Angeles. During an ecstatic kirtan in Los Angeles temple, Srila Prabhupada was laughing. Afterwards, a devotee asked why he had been laughing, and Prabhupada said, I was laughing to see Narad Muni. The devotee said, Narad Muni? Yes, Narad Muni was there. What was Narad Muni doing? Prabhupada said, he was laughing. The devotee said, why was he laughing? And Prabhupada said, he was laughing when he saw the Malechas and Chandalas dancing and chanting Hare Krishna. And there's another one pastime, but I'll leave this for some other time. And finally, we understand that Narad Muni, he is none other than Srivas Pandit in the Panchatattva. Panchatattva are the all merciful lordships. And Narad Muni appears even within the Panchatattva as Srivas Pandit. So we can see, from these pastimes, that what a great personality Shakti Avesh Avatar the Sri Narad Muni is. And the Bhagavatam is full of beautiful descriptions of the preaching activities of Narad Muni, the Prachetas. Even I was reading today how Narad Muni went to meet the Lord in Dwaraka, where the Lord had expanded himself to 16,180 forms. And when he went to see the Lord in one of his palaces, the Lord was so happy to see him. The Lord was saying how it was his great good fortune that Sri Narad could appear and he could have his darshan. So I'll stop here. I mean, we could speak so much about Sri Narad Muni, but we'll take any questions, comments, or reflections that anyone has. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, sorry, Jolly Mataji. I mistakenly I muted you. If you can just unmute yourself again. There was some background noise.
Okay. No, I just want to say it's the first time I got captured into the sweetness of the stories. The way you told it is as though you were drinking the nectar of every single word. And I thank you for that. It's actually led me to a different path now. Thank you. Also, my question is,
Yes.
when we said about the sameness of, treating with the sameness, like for the treatment and the remedy, is that connected with homeopathic medicine?
To be honest, I wouldn't be able to answer. I do not know much about homeopathy. So I wouldn't be able to answer, Jolly Mataji. But many times, you know, it's almost like, you know, you're using, just like when someone gets bitten by a snake. The antidote for a snake bite is actually to use some of the snake's own venom.
Yeah.
But to reconstitute the proteins in that venom and to administer it. So
yeah, and it's the same for homeopathic. It's they potentize the poison in such a way that it treats the sameness, and it doesn't kill the person. If you see what I mean. It
It's like work. Exactly, like work is the cause of our bondage, but working in a different consciousness can also be the cause of our liberation.
Yeah, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions?
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful class as always. Very peaceful. You feel so peace within yourself. You know, when this transcendental vibration come in your heart, like listen to Bhagavatam from a wonderful devotee like you. It just actually it elevates the soul. I feel that's what I felt during this lesson. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
This is the power of Krishna Katha.
Yes, it's so.
It soothes the. I mean, I was speaking, but I was feeling so enlivened, so blissful, so soothing in my heart.
That's how we are feeling the same.
So Krishna Katha is so potent. You know, the speaker and the audience are both completely nourished. Completely nourished.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu.
Wonderful session. Thank you for enlightening us on the wonderful pastimes of Narad Muni. As you rightly said, he came to London and Los Angeles and wherever he likes to come. And it shows that Prabhupada's movement is very authentic. Why should an empowered personality like this come around otherwise? So if anyone has a slightest doubt as to what this Hare Krishna movement is about, then this is solid proof. Obviously, you have to believe the scriptures. It's not just a fantasy. So we are very much in a wonderful position, very fortunate, and we must, you know, really work hard to please Prabhupada. That way we'll get darshan of Narad Muni.
Yes, how nice. And just to know that Sri Narad Muni is here with us in this Kali Yuga, he's overlooking us, and he's feeling great happiness when he sees like Malechas, like myself, engaging in kirtan.
Yeah, we're all Malechas, Chandra. Exactly, yes, absolutely. And you know, and Lord Shiva and Brahma are still dancing on to his tune. So there you are. We are in exalted company.
Yeah, absolutely. All through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, Prabhupada's mercy is unfathomable.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you for that, Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu. Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, I just have Krishna Gopal Prabhu and Darshan Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Vrindavan, Chandra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you for narrating the nice pastimes. I have a question. I hope it's not silly, but I don't understand. If you could help me, how maybe you would explain it, but I don't understand. How does Narada Muni fit within the Panchatattva? In what kind of mood? I don't understand. Maybe I missed the point. I'm sorry.
Within the Panchatattva, we have Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Lord Nityananda is Lord Balaram. And Sri Gadadhar Pandit is a manifestation of Srimati Radharani. And Srivas Pandit. His incarnation. So we have in the Panchatattva both Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva, but not ordinary Jiva Tattva, empowered Jiva Tattva. So Srivat Pandit is a manifestation of Sri Narad Muni, or an incarnation within the Panchatattva. That's explained in the Adi Lila of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can read further there, and I can also send you some reference if need be.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay. I have one announcement to make. Dear devotees, many of you may be aware that Prabhupada instructed us not only to read and study and relish Srimad Bhagavatam, but also to make this Bhagavatam accessible to the entire world. And Prabhupada expressed that he wanted that every single home should have a full set of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have a campaign called the Gomatsya Project, and this project's mission is to try as far as possible to fulfill the order of Srila Prabhupada to popularize Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are currently what we call the Bhadra Marathon, which runs from the 10th of April to 10th of September. The worldwide goal this year to distribute 43,000 copies of sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. We at Bhaktivedanta Manor, we are like a little squirrel. Our goal is 600 sets. And from 10th of April to 10th of September, we are endeavoring to do this. And we'd like to, my personal connection with Srimad Bhagavatam, although I've been reading it for Srimad Bhagavatam for over 35 years, I felt that over the last 5 to 6 years, when I became really involved in wanting to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam, I felt my relationship with Srimad Bhagavatam change and become so much different. I felt there was a reciprocation with Srimad Bhagavatam and a connection developed with Srimad Bhagavatam, just in a very small way to endeavor to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam. So we would like to encourage everyone who is involved in this community, in this group, more than also studying and reading and relishing Srimad Bhagavatam, also try to make some efforts. And Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. Bhagavatam will reciprocate with us and help us to enter deeper and to relish Bhagavatam. So, we have many events taking place this year. We are so short. We had a strategic meeting last night, and we have so many projects, so many service streams. If you are feeling a lacking in your life that you don't have some service, or you would like more service, or you like to serve Bhagavatam, please join us. There is one of our big events is Janmashtami this year. We get over 50,000 people coming. We have a place in the Haveli where we'll have a stall, and we have also a gazebo. And we really need devotees to serve during those 2 or 3 days festival. But to serve, you need to be trained. We have a training taking place by the volunteering group. Please register for the training for the voluntary group under the Gomatsya project. Attend the training and make yourself accessible to at least to serve either in our book tables on the Saturdays, Sundays, and in the Janmashtami festival. We can provide more information in our groups, but that's a humble request from ourselves. Thank you very much for your attendance and your cooperation. All glories to your service. Vancha kalpa tulubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam
Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
wonderful
Hare
class.
Krishna Vrindavan.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to everybody. Thank you. Hari Bol.
Haribo, thank you.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank
Krishna.
you.
Krishna.
Very good class, Prabhu. Very, very good class. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Govinda
Thank you.
Gopinath Ji. Hare Krishna.